Okay, good morning. Oh, I'm very cranky. I've had a bit of a brainwave. Well, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. So I've been watching Gina over at the Rebookery, her Finding Your Style. I think I mentioned that last video. And although I'm not specifically doing her exercises that she is running through, I have taken stock, I suppose, of a few things. Sorry, my voice is very deep and very croaky. Anyway, so when I was flicking through some of her things, she had a planner, like a bullet journal planner, but it was a junk one. So she created it from an old book, and it was awesome. I was like, oh, I love it, because I've tried bullet journaling. Like, I like the idea of it. I like the concept of it. I like that the diary grows with you, and that sometimes you have other things in the middle of the pages. So, you know, you might have a photo page, or you might have some planning, as well as your calendar pages. You might have a tracker for things, although I'm not real good at that. Some quotes, bits and pieces, or you know, you just go week to week on the calendar. Maybe it varies. I try different styles, so I love it, but I don't keep up with it. I stuck down some old scrapbooking layouts. I did digital ones, yeah, and then it peters out. I do it and then I don't fill it in. But I like the idea of it. I have a digital calendar, obviously, on my phone, and I use that a lot, and our family wouldn't survive without it, because it's we're so busy. But I wanted to have a play around with making a junk calendar. So this is just an old library book, or something. It looks like a library book. I picked up History of the 20th century. It's on the, what was that? The invasion of Italy and Russians offensive. But yeah, it's, yeah, not something that I would be interested in reading or whatever. Sydney Grammar Library School. Look at that. Sydney Grammar School, the library. So I think I'm going to use this. I was thinking about it last night. I was like, do I start do I bind a book? Do I create one from scratch? What papers do I put in? I don't know. So I've decided I'm actually just going to use this book, but because it's going to become a junk one, I'm going to need to take out pages. So quite often the way that I just do it is in each signature, careful not to rip the string. I pull out a couple of pages. I'll do that through here. I don't know where the next one is. Might just take one couple of these ones. She might even take out more. We'll see. So yeah, so this will obviously be an ongoing project if I take off with it. So if you want to join along, that'd be awesome. Find yourself a book. It doesn't matter if there's a bit of damage because I will tape up. I've already got my thick washi tape out. Yeah. So everybody won't end up doing too much. Oops, big noisy with this paper because it's a bit dark to turn into much. Oh. Stuck a bit there. Oh, that was the the security tag. That's funny. Okay. Okay, how are we going? A bit more here. Alright. I reckon that will do at the moment. I'm obviously going to be able to take out more. So quite a pile of paper. I guess these might end up being painted papers because they're dark. I can put gesso on them and then paint on them. And that's pile of papers. Now, talking about gesso, put this down. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I should have prepared that. Not real good. Okay. Now, what we need to do then, is prep this book before we get too much into it. It's got contact on it. I think I might just leave it. Won't matter too much. So some of these pages, particularly these, that's not too bad, but some of these darker ones, we're not going to be able to do any writing on it. And the cover either. So the cover I might work on in a while. So what I might do on this first page, if I do my, I might leave that. I want to put some tape on this bit first because I can see this bit. Oops. I love wide tape. Sometimes it's hard to get it. Now I'm not being quite as careful as I would do if I was making a journal, but that's okay. I'm just going to, well, number one, it's for me, so it doesn't matter so much. And I can sort of fix it up as I go, which I quite often end up doing. Okay, there we go. I'm going to stick these bits here. It can form part of a collage later. There we go. Okay. So I'll have a think about what I'm going to have at first page. So this one is going to be my year at a glance. So I'm going to draw rough columns. So gesso is good because it adds to, so you can use this plain white paint. This is just old acrylic paint, but it doesn't, I'll show you briefly. I'm just going to touch that. Obviously, I haven't used that before. Okay, so the plain white acrylic, it will dull it down, but as you can see, it doesn't really cover it up. I hope you can see that. So you see that acrylic. Paintbrush was a little wet, so it would probably work for our purpose. It's not too bad. There we go. Actually, this might be a good little test. Now, normally if I'm painting on a journal, I'll quite often put paper in, but this is the first one, like baking paper or something. I've got some here, I should do it, but... Okay, so that one is acrylic down the bottom. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but gesso is a lot thicker, and it just... to put this on, is actually you have to really work to not have it super thick. Now I don't mind if it doesn't cover it completely. The whole point is this, is that it's a junk. Junk journal. The pages aren't too, they're a little bit glossy, not too bad. So when you're using glossy paper or something in journals, gesso is good because it will mean things will stick to it, like glue and stuff. Now, I don't know how that shows up on the camera, but this is a lot heavier than that, which doesn't really matter. I said this is just a test. Now this one don't really have to. I'm just going to put a little bit just to add some texture. I said this paper's not shiny, so okay. Now, one of the other things with bullet journaling that I struggle with is that the beautiful journals, I mean, they're beautiful. They are expensive, which I don't mind. I don't mind spending money on a book and using it or whatever. But the paper is so thin and ink just goes straight through it. And I don't really have the patience to be mucking around trying to find the perfect paper and the perfect... I'd rather make it perfect than find it perfect, if that makes sense. And perfect, that word, it doesn't mean that it's ideal, it just means that I want to make it work for me. If I make it work, it's fine. Okay. So there we go. A little bit of paint. Now already, can you see where that acrylic is drying? I don't know if you can see that. Oh, the sun coming through. So where that acrylic is drying, it's quite see-through now, even though it went on thicker. Whereas that gesso is quite thick. So you still can't see through it. Alright, I'm just going to hop over and get my drying tool and close that blind a bit so the sun doesn't come in. Okay, there we go, I'm back. I'm going to quickly do some drying of this, around 15. Towel rag. I don't know what to do with it. Stood up. Okay. I found my paint book. So when I paint in journals, rather than just waste it on a rag, you brush on a book, and then you end up with the bare bones of a journal, really. So it's quite cool. Mind you, white doesn't really have a structure. Okay, so you can see, I mean, this is still drying, but I might see what it's like with another coat. So you don't really have to do you don't have to buy gesso or even just paint, but I mean, this is just an inexpensive acrylic. You just might need a couple of coats to make it, and you're not trying to white it out, you're just trying to make it so you can sort of scribble on it and you can sort of see, because often with journaling it doesn't matter too much, but if you are making a planner you need to be able to read it pretty much, and some things you can go over, but this page I'm using is going to be like a calendar page, so like the whole year at a glance. So I've just put acrylic over the gesso. Not that it matters, doesn't really matter. Actually, the acrylic might even grab a bit better to the gesso now that I've done that. Okay, there we go. So this is just real cheap gesso from the craft store, the cheap Spotlight here. It's nothing exciting. I don't know if you can, hopefully that will focus on that. And again, this is also just plain acrylic, so whichever one. I do recommend the gesso if you have not bought some before. If you are into altering books and things like that, a gesso is good because it goes. Okay, just because this might take a bit longer. I don't know if you really want to be watching me. Oops. Okay, now I'm probably going to speed up that bit. Well, I will speed up that bit, but because I'm impatient and I don't want to wait, I've dried all that. So I don't know whether you noticed, but it bubbles up. If you get too carried away with the heat tool, it bubbles up. Okay, just check. Everything's in. Yep. All right, just need to grab. Okay. Alright, now this is just a set of permanent textures, Sharpies, whatever. Again, in my brain, this is where my brain was going, thinking about what like textures that go through other paper. This doesn't matter so much. It doesn't matter if it goes through in any way, shape or form, because it's, you're going to cover it up and paint it over or whatever, so it doesn't matter. So this is where my logic is going anyway. Alright, so for anyone who's not done bullet journaling before, often, and there's no real rules, well there is, but there isn't, you have what's called a future log. And this is really good because you're creating your calendar. You don't have your future months and things in place. Like, they're not there because they're just not made yet because you've got a blank notebook. This is the one that I started currently, but yeah, so you have a future log. Good for tracking birthdays, good for, and then future events. So like, you know, we're going to the theatre in October, and we're going to the theatre in December, and I've only got up to August in my diary, calendar, whatever, bullet journal. So a future log's good. If you're not new to bullet journaling, you'll know what that is. So this is going to be my future log page. Now, because it's bigger, I don't need to worry about just having one page. So I'm going to very roughly, I'm getting the ruler out, but I'm not really measuring. I'm just going to roughly to 29. Like it's not super. One thing I've learned is if you want to do roughly straight lines, pull the pen toward you. And that helps. So 6 months, 6 months, so these are going to be into threes. Just to add a bit of water there. Okay, now, because it's August, again, a good thing about these planners, it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter if it's a year, like you can start it whenever and end it whenever, and quite often you end up using like a diary a journal might only last 6 months, it might last a year, it might last 3 months, it doesn't really matter. So your future log, at the beginning of each one, you probably start at whatever month it is or the next month, and so then you've always got a year at a glance. So that's what I'm going to do anyway. So this is this current month. August, September. February, I've probably spelled that wrong. So this is actually going to be 2020 here. Oops. Okay. So this is my future log. Now in my diary, I do have some important things that we're doing. Well, birthdays and such as well. But I have a few things. So like this month, for example, which I was excited about, on the 31st. Let's see. My son and I are going to go see Hilterfoods in Sydney. So that's a big thing for us. Some other big things. Matt and I are going to go see West Side Story. Oops, just say 16th there. And then on the 14th, going to go see Hannah Gads. And then on February 15th, I see Queen plus Adam Lambert. but there are a few big things. And actually, even with that paint, that's helped stop the permanent text to go through, which is good. Okay, so I'm going to fill in other things. I'll do that probably off camera, but that is a start of what we're going to do. There we go, my birthday. Because yeah. Okay, so that's the beginnings of it. So if you're going to join along with me, go find yourself a book. Doesn't have to be a children's picture book, would be good, like an old one, or you can even make yourself up a journal, but I'm just going to use this old book. So find yourself up a book and get started. Get your future log, your year at a glance, whatever you want to call it, ready. Paint over some pages. I'm going to paint these next couple of pages and leave them to dry. So when I make my next video, we're going to start creating that, and we might look at doing the cover. Okay, so hopefully some of you join along with me. I think this will be good fun, and you can use it for all sorts of things. You don't even have to use it for a diary. You could just use it as an events book for the year, or I don't know, whatever. That's my plan. So my junk planner. Hopefully some of you will join along with me, and until next time. So so homework is, get yourself a book, an old book. It can even just be a notebook, actually. It could just be, this is one of my kids, I was going to use this one. So this is one of my kids' old drawing books with practice pictures and things. So I was going to use this and actually keep some of the artwork in it, so use alternate pages and things, or even old kids exercise books, which I have shown before, I think, in the altered, using an old exercise book. Some of these pictures I'm definitely going to keep. So that was one that I was going to use. The other one was just an old exercise book, anything like that. Doesn't really matter what it is, because we're going to cover up the pages. This was another book that I looked at, slightly smaller, but I haven't, not yet. So it doesn't really matter, anything. And if you want a smaller book, use a smaller book. Yeah, okay, so that's your homework. Go find a book and prep your first page with some paint, or just draw over. It doesn't have to be prepped with paint. You can even stick paper and a collage paper over it. We'll definitely be doing some of that as well. Otherwise, that's it, and till next time. Bye.